And we have some breaking economic news. The Consumer Price Index gives us a nice idea of what the inflation picture looks like in Canada right now. The expectation was that we were going to see the annual inflation rate in the month of May cool to around 1.5%, previously from 1.6%. 1.3% is what actually happened in the month of May. We're watching what's happening with the Canadian dollar this morning. We know that with the Bank of Canada, as it monitors inflation, generally it has that target closer to 2%. So what does this mean in terms of interest rate outlook? What does it mean in terms of the Canadian dollar? Certainly some things that people will be looking for. But the bottom line is you've got an inflation reading here for the month of May that is a little cooler than what was expected overall at 1.3% growth compared to the 1.5% estimate. Meanwhile, Berkshire Hathaway's investment in Home Capital is being hailed as a vital vote of confidence for the company. Some mortgage brokers that previously shunned Home Capital are now starting to test the waters and refer new business to the alternative lender. For a little bit more perspective on this, we're joined by the founder and CEO of Mortgages of Canada, Samantha Brooks. Nice to see you.
Pleasure to see you too as well.
We were just talking to Patty Levitt-Reid about sort of several things taking place that maybe gives people confidence. Warren Buffett, just one piece of the overall pie of this. But what have you been doing? What have you been talking with people about?
So what we've been looking at is the need, basically. So when the clients come to us, what are their needs? And where can we actually place those files? And Home Capital, because they've been so limited in the last couple of weeks, we haven't been able to really place anything with them. Last week we started to send in a few deals and they've actually picked them up pretty quickly. So that was really confident for us. Like, we believe that, you know what, these guys may actually be ready to start doing business again.
So would you describe the market right now? Because I think a lot of people have wondered if just this environment right now, and now we just got some news this morning about maybe we're going to see even more listings, for example, in the Toronto market over the next 12 months, that the market for alternative mortgages is in decent shape.
It is in excellent shape, actually,
yeah.
And there seems to be an increase in alternative lending too as well. Because the lending criteria for A banks are now more strict than they were previously, we are finding that the alternative space is growing, and especially for people, not just purchasers, but people who are also refinancing and renewing their mortgage. They're not able to renew the way they used to, and banks, it's not so simple as it used to be.
So you said before it was tricky for you to refer business, just because things, they were in kind of a standstill, or?
For Home Capital, it was a little bit difficult because of what had happened, obviously, the last couple of months. So everything kind of just stopped. And everything was delayed on all sides, on the A side of lending, on the alternative side. And so we were just having to be patient with all of our files. A lot of the alternative lenders that took over not they didn't really take over, but they took over the overflow of files from Home Capital, were actually pushing their closings out. Like, I know one of the other lenders pushed their closings out to like August and September because they're not able to manage the overflow of files because Home Capital was kind of just restructuring on the inside.
Very interesting. Yeah. So Home Capital has taken obviously lots of steps to improve its financial situation drastically over the last few weeks. I just want to ask you sort of a broader question about culture. As you know, mortgage brokers and people in the mortgage industry, behind the scenes, they're a chatty bunch. They're always sort of saying different things. And I think at Home Capital's worst moments, let's face it, there were some people out there that were saying, you know, back in the day, Home Capital, they were too aggressive. I didn't want to do a deal with them. I was always, you know, questioning their approach, and now they're paying the price for that. What's kind of the chatter on the street around the business that is Home Capital today? Is there anybody sort of that questions some of their past practices as they now say, okay, well, it looks like the situation is improving for them?
Right. So, I mean, everyone questions it whenever anything comes to surface, right? So because there's negative news that's out there regarding Home Capital, everyone's a little more careful. And people will have their perceptions and their opinions, but at the same time, they were still doing a lot of business. And it's good for them now that, you know, they're restructuring and taking a different look at the way they process the mortgages, just to do their due diligence and making sure that they keep up with the policies of OFSI.
And am I right? Did you talk to our producer about a manager from Home Capital coming to your office to have a chat? Maybe you could tell us about that.
Yeah, so on Monday, we just had a surprise visit from one of the business development managers. We haven't seen him for about 2 years, and he just decided that he was going to just pop by. We know that they're a little bit slow over on their side right now because not a lot of deals have been coming in just because of the restructuring. A lot of confidence has gone out the window, but you know what? They're starting to bring back that nurturing to the broker channel. And it's good. It's a good thing. Like it brings back confidence for myself, and I'm sure it would for others too as well. They're getting back to the roots of what made them very successful in the past.
So a humbling moment perhaps for some in the industry to, you know, the other thing we've talked a lot about on the show, there are obviously other players in the industry who have seen this as a great opportunity for their business. But as you look at the landscape right now, are you seeing that? Are you seeing people who were going elsewhere because of the Home Capital issues, or even now as you're sort of placing new deals?
Yes, absolutely.
That are choosing to?
Absolutely. We definitely were sending our deals elsewhere. We didn't really have an option because they were taking quite a long time to process our files. And obviously, if you have a client who's closing on a purchase, you don't have that time to play with because it's a contractual agreement. So those dates have to be met, or else there's penalties that go on to the client. We have had to go elsewhere, and now we're willing to start using them again.
And just a final question about Warren Buffett. Like, one of the conversations we had yesterday was, oh, hold on. If Warren Buffett sees a great opportunity in alternative lending in Canada, maybe he's seeing something that traditional Canadian banks haven't gravitated towards. What's your sort of just general take on Buffett giving a vote of confidence to Canada?
I think it's absolutely amazing. It's amazing that he came over and he's going to help to bail out Home Capital. I do believe that in a year from now that everything will change and they'll be back up and funding mortgages as per usual.
All right, lots to watch for. Samantha, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Samantha Brooks is the founder and CEO of Mortgages of Canada.